So as we end this year, the last trading day of 2021, with the different emotions than we hoped for, and I think it's fair to look at what SoFi told us past few weeks and what we can learn from it. I got some interesting comments on my past videos, and no, I'm not talking about the comments where John made $22,000 in 1 week trading with Mrs. Kane. I'm pretty sure you all know this, but please don't fall for any of those. They are nothing but some BS. I'm talking about comments where people had different emotions about SoFi and also market as a whole. I'm talking about comments where people were defending their reasons to either sell or buy or hold. So let me know in comments if you recently added SoFi to your portfolio or if you exited because you could not take all this negative news. And also if you played any options, because I saw some big trades for January 2023 calls. And as a gentle reminder, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing. So let's start with a year in review for SoFi, and let me share the price chart and also the social sentiment. And this is really cool because this will show you how negative or positive articles affect the price of a stock, especially for us retailers. So let's start with something very basic. Now, depending on when you bought the stock, you might not agree with me, and that is totally fine. But this stock has performed really well given its peers. Let me explain. So take a look over here. So this is when SoFi, or I would say Social Finance Holding, the full form of SoFi, became public in June of 2021. Before that was a SPAC, and when the rumors came out, we saw a huge spike in the price of the SPAC, and then it came back down. And then in June of 2021, it went public. Since June of 2021, if you look at the price, we started trading at around, I would say, $22 in June of 2021. Since then, of course, it has came down. It has taken some gains, and of course, it has lost some gains. And right now, where we are sitting is about $16 when I'm recording this video. Now, if you look at other SPACs that came with the same time or at the same time, you would see that SoFi is sitting at #1 stock. There are so many other SPACs that came, and they have been really battered really bad. And the main reason because why SoFi is performing so well the way it's performing is because #1, they have an amazing team. We already know that. #2, they have an amazing product line. We already know that. But the main reason is that they have a huge demand in the market. And anytime when a company comes out that has a real demand in the market, doesn't matter if it's for ETFs, doesn't matter if it's for crypto, doesn't matter if it's for financing. But anytime a company that debuts in the market that has a product suite like SoFi does, it does well if it's executed correctly and properly. And that's what's going on with SoFi. SoFi's internal business and the team has been executing the business very well. And I'll explain in the video in a little bit later, like what I mean by that and how their inflection point that Anthony Noto has talked about many times is now coming to fruition. Like if you see over here, right now, if you really look at the price, we kind of came out at around $20 and right now we are sitting at $16. Yes, it's less than the SPAC price, but so much has happened in the market. The whole market sentiment is in fear right now. Everybody is selling tax loss harvesting or fear or whatever you want to call it. But the whole market sentiment has changed from 2020. We all agree to that. It's not only SoFi that's going down. See, when the market sentiment was up, when all the growth stock was up, SoFi was also flying. So I feel when the rotation will happen, when the market sentiment will kind of decrease, and I think it's going to happen very soon, given what we have seen in the last few days, we are going to see a run up and SoFi is going to actually perform better than its peers. In the last few days, we got a glimpse of that on how SoFi performed as compared to its peers. So I'm absolutely with you when it comes to, okay, the stock has not performed the way it should have performed, but look at the market, look at the overall market conditions. Market conditions has gone down, social sentiment has gone down, which I'm going to cover next. So I'm not saying that this is the best stock in the stock market, but what I'm saying is that this stock has performed really well given its peers. I mean, in SPAC index, this stock is #1 right now because all other SPACs are performing very poorly. I mean, look at Clove, look at few of the other names. They are really horrible, but SoFi has been performing very well. So next, let me share some cool chart that I had discussed previously. So take a look at this. This is the social sentiment on SoFi, and I'm going to share another one in just 1 second. So as you can see, Twitter positive sentiment count is 258 and negative sentiment count is 137. So basically it's comparing how many times people were positive about SoFi and how many times they were negative. So pay attention to what happened in the beginning. So it's not very crisp, but we're going to go over the chart. So as you can see over here, this is what when the IPO'd or when the stock came out, and we saw not very many publications on SoFi because again, this was new company, people were still trying to understand. And then the stock continued to perform on a sideways trading after, I would say, February all the way to about May. We saw the stock kind of go sideways. Then in May, we started to get some more and more press coverage on SoFi, and you can see the price started to go up. So the line here, the green line that you see, is the price on SoFi, and this is the news articles that started to come on SoFi. So as you can see, the price started to go up and it was positive, and then also negative kind of went hand in hand with it. So pay attention here. Its price was really high around May of 2021, and then we started to see some more negative articles started to pop up from July, as you can see. So more article or more negative articles started to come in July, and price started to come down. We had more negative activity from before. I'm not comparing the positive because there were some positives as well, but I'm talking about more negative activity on social media, and then price come down. Then over here we had some huge positive activity on SoFi. Price started to go up during the earnings that we saw, and there were a lot of positive articles that started to come out, and then price started to come down with the market fear, and we saw the negative articles pop up as well. Now recently, if you pay attention, in the last, I would say 2 or 3 days, the Twitter sentiment on SoFi is really high. That means people are feeling more and more bullish on SoFi, and we saw the rotation. SoFi performed the best out of all, I would say, fintech stocks in the recent last 2 or 3 days, and we saw more and more positive sentiment on SoFi as compared to negative sentiment. See, negative always exists. What we measure is that how much of positive is more than negative. If you pay attention over here, when SoFi was touching all-time high recently in November, there was huge green candles on positive sentiment, and even though there were red candles on negative, because some people were saying it's overvalued, overpriced, but it wasn't that much as compared to the positive sentiment. Now I'm going to show you a chart of another company, and I want you to guess this company and put it in the comment because this is really interesting. Take a look at this, I would say, social sentiment on this company. Twitter positive sentiment 166, Twitter negative sentiment 933. This company has been thrashed by Twitter or many social media people because and had so much negative sentiment around it, but yet the company is doing well. I want you to kind of take a wild guess and put it in the comments. It'll be fun to see what names you come up with, but basically take a look over here. I would say the strong sentiment or strong negative sentiment on this company started at around end of October and started to come really hard in November and then December, while the positive sentiment has gone down like drastically. So I want you to take a wild guess and mention in the comments, what do you think this company is? But look at the difference, 166 and 933, while look at SoFi, 258 in positive and 137 in negative. Now, next, let me share some earnings estimate, because believe me, after we are done with this crazy market manipulation, at the end, what matters is how company has delivered and how they are going or doing with numbers. And one of the cool things about any growth company is that their expenses started to come down as they ramp up. Watch out for Tesla in 2022. And I know I'm plugging Tesla because Tesla's expense is going to come down more and more in the coming years. That's a topic for my next video, but look at the earnings estimate for SoFi over here for the sake of this video. So this is earning estimate that you can see over here. Now, consensus is basically saying that the Q4 of 2021, which of course will end today, is about 277.5 million they will do. In Q3, they did about 251 million. Then in Q1 of 2022, the earning estimate is about 300 million. So I would say about 25 million more, approximately, right? About 25 million more than Q4 of 2021. Now, the interesting part to note over here is that they're saying that the loss on Q4 of 2021 is going to be around 154 million of loss. Then in Q1 of 2022, it's going to be 99.4 million. That's an estimate, of course, these numbers can change. But what's really interesting to see over here is that their revenue is going up about, I would say, 25 million, right? That's what we kind of guessed from Q4 to Q1 of 2022. Their revenue is going up by 25 million, but look, their loss is going down by almost 50 million, even a little bit more. But if you look at the earnings, then it's 25 million, and then this is going down by 50 million. So double with the pace of how the earnings are going. So as they get more and more bigger, as they acquire more and more customers, their cost of acquisition per customer is going to go down. That means their bottom line is going to go up, or their net profit is going to go up. So this is really, really interesting what we see over here. The inflection point that Anthony Noto has talked about it, where the cost of acquisition per customer is going to keep going down while the revenue per customer is going to keep going up, which is a really, really interesting point for any company. Not just, I'm not talking about SoFi, for any company. And we are going to see some effect of it in the beginning of 2022. So I feel 2022 for SoFi is going to be an amazing year in terms of earnings, member growth, product growth, something to watch out for. So I have a screenshot. Of course, we are going to compare as and when the earnings come out. And of course, Q4 will be interesting to see if they were to deliver, or if they had 154 million of loss, or even less. And if it's even less, that means the inflection point has already started, where we will see more and more revenue coming in from per customer. So you might think differently because you might have entered the stock at a different time. But remember, what we are seeing in the market in the last 4 weeks is more fear driven and not fundamentals driven. Even though companies should be traded on fundamentals, fear does exist, and it's very real. And what fear does is it kills the short-term options, and that's what's going on with SoFi. I like the company for its fundamentals, and that is why I'm invested in it. Doesn't matter if the company is down today. I know company will do wonderful in 2022. So don't forget to mention in the comments if you recently added SoFi to your portfolio, or if you exited, and also if you played any options. I hope I provided some value, and if you like the video, then consider subscribing to the channel and give a video a thumbs up, and consider joining our Patreon and Discord. Links are in the description below. As always, an absolute pleasure to share all of this with you. Until next time, you all have a sparkling day.